Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Thanks for stopping by. Today I wanted to do a little bit of a life update, and then I have a story that I'd like to share with you. So let's get into it. So a little bit of a life update, just kind of keep everybody informed on what's going on. A few weeks ago, I talked about how I had lost my 9-to-5 employment. My goal was to put a lot more effort and energy into making content and building up things for Discord and this channel and all the other things that we have going on. So far, I feel pretty good about the progress. I've been trying to do about a video a day. I haven't made every day, but the goal is to just kind of keep making content, kind of experimenting. And so far that content has primarily been based, focused around music, topics of various kinds. Some of them have been fun, like with the video that I introduced Vio to everyone. That was a good time. We're planning on some more content with Vio. And then at some point, we're going to get a Vio video where he is going to talk about some things. So that's all in the works, and we're, it's one day at a time. One of the things I want to do more with is, of course, I've started doing some videos talking about singing techniques, performing topics, but I want to go into that a little bit deeper and actually start doing, I don't know what we would call them, tutorials or guidance, first lesson, here's how you breathe, here's, this, that, and kind of go through that a little bit. But one of the other things that I'd like to start doing more of and introducing is music history, or the history of composers and things like that. When I was younger, I did not like history classes. Those were my least favorite classes in school. I thought that they were boring. I didn't find that they applied to me in any way. It was just memorizing a bunch of facts. This happened then, and this happened then, and so on. But as I went back to college, that changed. All of a sudden, then these topics and things were much more relatable. So in learning about people, the issues that people had, and the fascinating things about the relationships that they had with the people around them and what's going on in the world at the time, all of a sudden it took on a whole new meaning and opened up so much for me. I was able to relate to a lot of the things that I was learning about these people. They weren't just a poster on the wall or somebody, having a bust of Beethoven sitting on their piano. All of a sudden, I learned things about how Beethoven was going deaf and he didn't tell anyone. He wrote the Heilige Testament where he's sort of talking about these issues, and he knew what was happening and kept it to himself for a good portion of his life. I mean, to be a composer and to be going deaf, that's huge. It was a very emotional awakening and understanding the humanization of these people, and then the art that they created and how this art came to be. I'm also still learning, the ins and outs of video editing and lighting and trying to just get used to things. And that's part of the reason for doing so many videos, is really to just learn more, trial and error as we go. So bear with me while we continue on this journey together. So last night I watched a movie with Vio, Nightmare Alley, which had Bradley Cooper and Cate Blanchett. And it was a pretty interesting movie. It's a little long. I enjoyed it. It was kind of, it was creepy. But it reminded me of a story that I want to tell. 1947, this woman, Flora, she lives in a bigger city. I don't know what city in particular. She has a 16-year-old daughter, Monica, and she's taken in this mute boy who was living on the street. His name is Toby. Now, don't get it twisted. She's not a nice woman. She didn't take Toby in because she's kind. She took him in because she's using his ability for her scam. She's a scam artist. She's drunk, and she has this whole setup where she does seances and, other little, scammy things. But particularly, she's got her apartment set up so that all the supernatural stuff that's happening, the lights flickering, the table shaking, and puts on these these seances with people and, scams them for their money. There's nothing real supernatural going on here. She's just got the whole setup. Her daughter does the voices of the spirits. It comes out kind of shrouded in the lighting and makes it look like, the spirit is talking and all of this. And then Toby, he's basically behind the scenes doing all of the special effects, so to say. Now, Flora's not, like I said, she's not a nice woman. She's a drunk and she's abusive. She doesn't really care about Toby at all. She cares about Monica, I guess, in her own way, but still, she's a terrible person. She shows up at home and she's getting, making sure everything's ready for the people that are showing up. She's got this one couple, the Gobineaus, who show up weekly for these seances. They had a little boy who had passed away before he was even able to speak. He was a toddler. He drowned. So they show up weekly to communicate with their son. In this particular instance, they bring their friend, Mrs. Nolan. She's recently lost her daughter. She's kind of skeptical. Mrs. Nolan, she's not buying all this, but she's nervous, but her friends have told her that it'll be good for her. Flora's making sure everything's all set up. She's being particularly bitchy that day. So she sets the whole spiel up. She does her acting, with the calling the spirits, and everybody's holding hands around the table, and it's dark and it's spooky. She's got, all the ambiance and all this. And so they go through their seance, and, so, she calls the spirits, and Monica, of course, does her thing. And her being a teenage girl, of course, Mrs. Nolan thinks that she's communicating with her daughter. And Flora, and that's what reminded me of this story, because in Nightmare Alley, the main character in this carnival learns to be a mentalist. And it's, where you're using people's, you're able to read people. Well, Flora, of course, does the trick where she talks about a locket. And Mrs. Nolan's like, oh my goodness, yes, she had a locket. And it's all part of the scam. Everybody's got a locket. You can pretty much apply that in almost every instance. Towards the end of the seance, though, something happens. Flora feels something touch her. She kind of freaks out. She has flipped the lights on. She's like, what's going on? Who did that? Who touched me? She felt a cold hand on her. Now, keep in mind, Flora's a drunk. At this point in her life, being older, she's probably going off the deep end. I mean, maybe she had a supernatural experience. She's messing with stuff she shouldn't be messing with, so maybe. More likely, she's probably just drunk. She flips the lights on. She kind of is like, I'm not feeling good. Everybody needs to leave. So she kind of shoos them out the door, and then she turns on the kids. She's like, which one of you did it? She starts accusing Toby, of course, because, Toby is usually the brunt of her anger. And he, can't talk. He's just shaking his head. He didn't do anything. And she kind of starts to lose it. She's kind of panicking. She's describing what just happened. Monica's like, you've just been drinking again. Don't worry. She's trying to calm her down. It's not working. She kind of gets her to sit down and settle down. She gets her drink. Then she kind of sings this lullaby to her. I mean, by the end, she's saying her, she's saying her prayer and everything. But she calms down enough. They get her to chill out. Flora's pretty convinced that Toby is messing with her. She's just set her sights on him. He's the culprit. She's trying really hard to justify what happened because she doesn't want to believe that it's a supernatural event. Because if she had to admit that this was really something creepy that happened and all of the bad things that she's done in her life, that could be a thing, she can't handle that. So she is convinced that she's going to get Toby to confess to this. So she kind of tries to come at him from a very manipulative place where she's like, it's okay. You can tell me. You can, I'm not going to be mad. She uses the fact that she knows that he likes Monica. It's like, well, she also like trinkets and things that he likes because he likes to dress up and wear silks and jewelry and stuff. And so she really makes him feel awful about that, and she teases him and she bullies him. But then she comes at him and she says, oh, well, I know you love this silk, I'll give this to you. I'll give you these pearls. You know, if you just tell me the truth, just tell me that you did it. Well, he didn't do it, and he's not going to lie, and he just keeps denying it. Well, this infuriates her. She gets to the point where she kind of just snaps. She loses her ever-loving mind, and she starts whipping him. So she's beating him all around the room. He's trying to get away from her and hide. Monica comes in, and she's, what are you doing? What are you doing? She tries, to pull her away, and Toby is trying to hide, and it's a bad scene. Finally, Flora just loses it, and she's like, he's gone. She kicks him out. She's like, don't come back. I don't want to see you again. And she makes him leave. He's got nowhere to go. He's out on the street. Monica's beside herself. Flora goes into this drunken tirade. She's pretty wasted at this point, is talking about all the terrible things that she's seen in her life. And she's just kind of going on and on. Monica's gone to her room at this point, locked herself in, and just to get away from her. Flora passes out in a chair, drunk. Well, at some point, Toby sneaks back into the house. He accidentally makes some noise. And Baba kind of wakes up a little bit from her drunken stupor, just enough to be freaked out because she heard something. So she calls out, who's there? What's going on? She doesn't hear anything. Of course, Toby's trying to hide and be quiet at this point. And she's wasted, but she pulls the gun out and she starts waving it around. Who's there? Tell me who's there. I'm going to shoot. And Toby can't speak. And he's terrified. He doesn't want to come out because, he's afraid of getting shot as it is. So he stays hidden, and she keeps freaking out, and she points the gun, because behind the curtain where Toby is hiding, where he does all the special effects, she shoots, and she kills him. Of course, Monica comes running out, and she sees Toby, they're dead, and, she picks him up and is, she's calling for help. Flora just loses her mind and is babbling about, ghosts and stuff, and that's that. Kills the boy. So what I have just described to you, this is the plot for The Medium, which is an opera written by Giancarlo Menotti in 1947. It's about an hour long. It's a one-act opera. I was lucky enough to get to play the role of Flora, Madame Flora, also known as Baba. It's a great one to watch. It's short. It's in English. It's got the particular creep factor, which I love about it. And Baba is an awful, awful person. That's one of the things, though, about being on stage and really getting into a character like that. I've always been sort of drawn to the villains. That one was a little bit tough for me to play because of the fact that she is so incredibly abusive to Toby, and to try to get that across, and it was rough. I have to say that the performance that I did, the actor, who was another singer, even though Toby is a non-speaking part, he was amazing, especially during the scenes where I had to basically beat him with a whip as we were going through. He was such a great physical actor that he could make those scenes, because I didn't really hit him, but he was able to just really make those scenes so incredibly tense with the way he moved his body and the fear and everything. So that was a great experience for me, getting to play that role. And there's a really fantastic aria that she sings where she goes completely crazy in her drunkenness and has a hysterical laughing moment that escalates into this kind of crying thing, and it's one of my favorite arias to do because it's so shocking. Joyce Castle, she's an American mezzo-soprano who has done this role, had it recorded, and here is the album cover that she did. And Joyce was my voice teacher at the university that I went to, and she is she is a wonderful actress, wonderful singer. Just being able to do that role under her tutelage was just goals. So that was so much fun. And I hope someday to be able to reprise that role and do it again. That would be wonderful. But this is one of the operas that I think that you all should check out. There is a TV version. It was made for TV. I cannot, off the top of my head, remember the actress singer who did that role, but She's wonderful. And so if you get a chance, you could find that and watch it. Incidentally, the song, the lullaby that Monica sings to Madame Flora, as she's trying to calm her down in that first section, is The Black Swan, which is one of the songs that Discord does. That's where that aria comes from, and the creepy lyrics just go so well with this opera. So I encourage you to check it out. Hope that you guys leave me some comments down below. Give me your thoughts. Again, don't forget to click the like, subscribe, and I will see all of you very, very soon. Thanks for watching.